Cats, Beth. We're talking about cats tonight. Why cats? Because there's one laying right over here, and I figure it's an obvious topic for you. That's my guess. Michael?
Well, actually, that was going to be my guess because there's a cat right over here.
Aha.
So, that's...
All right, well, Beth, you better have a cat topic ready because we've guessed it, and obviously, as per the show rules, you have to give us exactly what we guessed that we're going to talk about, right?
I don't think that's how that works.
Oh, well, we'll find out. I'm Dan, he's Mike. We're coming at you in the blind. This is In the Blind with Mike and Dan. This is the part where you dance to the beat.
I am.
I know.
We all are.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun. So the format of this show is super simple. Michael and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Beth will be so kind as to tell us what the first topic is in a minute. We've got 2 topics tonight. We're given 20 minutes each to debate and discuss, and then my favorite part follows that, and that's the lightning round of 5 true-false questions, which are just ridiculous. Simply reference the moose from the last one who tried to do the right thing.
And the
go
chicken.
lay down because he was drunk.
And the chicken.
Yeah,
And Tycho Brahe with his metal nose.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the metal nose.
Yes.
It's a crazy world. Buckle up. Enjoy. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, Bethy, topic 1. Give it to us.
Okay, so I was thinking about this as I do when I'm putting the shows together. And I know there are a lot of people that have followed you over from TCF. So this is a little bit of a nod to them.
Okay.
Tonight, we're exploring the limits of law when legality and morality don't always align. At what point does breaking the law make someone a criminal or a hero? And should people follow a law even if they believe it's morally wrong?
Ooh. So we're talking about when is it okay to break a law?
Is it okay to break a law?
Sometimes, yes. I'll go ahead and start if you don't mind, Michael.
Sure.
I've always said, and I believe it, and I think I've made this clear over on TCF, when we go through the court system and we watch all these different cases and whatnot, that I don't think the world is as simple as a rule book. Because tell me any time it ever has been. The truth is that we have black and white in our systems, in our routines, and in our everything, no matter what it is. But the truth of the matter is everything happens in the gray. It's where the black and the white come together. That's where we exist. Now, you can look at some things and go, well, obviously, anytime this happens, it would be bad. And I think there are a couple of those things. Crimes against children, for example. I don't think there's any way to justify that. And we've been very clear on the other channel about that. That's just not going to happen. It's just not acceptable. Barbara's wood chipper. But there are other things where you really could justify, and some really bad things too. The first one that comes to mind is homicide, the killing of another human being. There are times when that is going to be justified. For example, anybody tries to break into the bunker here, they will not leave because I will protect my family. And that is just the way that is, and I believe it to be justified. Do I want it to happen? No, I don't. I hope it never does. At any point, if I so much have to remove my weapon from its holster, let alone fire it at somebody, it's already a very bad day.
Yeah.
So it's not something that we want, but it is certainly something that could happen. And, I think it's a case-by-case basis. Now, there will be those that argue, well, the laws are there for a reason, and you're supposed to follow them, and you're a bad boy if you don't. Well, sometimes you might just need to be a bad boy because the situation calls for it. Again, it's It's unfortunate. I mean, you can look back at the 10 Commandments. There's the thou shalt not kill. And I've argued on the other channel that we should go back to 10 simple laws rather than this voluminous BS that we have now. But even then, you can find examples in the Bible of where the killing is justified.
Well, God smote a lot of people.
Yeah, he's not afraid of it.
No.
So,
Well,
but he's the writer of the laws above them.
Yeah, and Dan, you talk about homicide, but what you described in home defense isn't homicide. There's actually laws codified that say you have the right to defend, to defend your home, especially here in Arizona, some states, the castle doctrine and all that sort of stuff,
Not to interrupt, Michael, but just to be clear, I picked the word homicide for a specific reason. Its official definition is the killing of another human being. I didn't pick murder.
Okay, that's true.
So just so we're clear of where I'm coming from.
But I mean, that's one of those things where I'm sure some people would find even defending your home and killing someone morally objectionable because they would think, well, there's a way you could subdue them and blah, blah, blah,
Oh, well, there's
but
lots of people.
You're not always thinking.
Countries that don't allow it.
Sure. There's you have a duty to retreat and all that sort of thing. But luckily, there's a lot of things about Arizona and some other states in this country of ours that, you cannot like. But one thing that you should really embrace is the fact that you do at least still have some liberties over your own property, over your own home, over, the protection of your life and the lives of others. And, it's just like, I don't think there's no moral gray area there. Now, there is certainly, we talk about the old example of, is it wrong to steal a loaf of bread to feed your family or to feed yourself? Or, if you've tried other things, or if you're in desperate straits, or, would it be wrong to steal $5,000 if your daughter was kidnapped? There's all these, moral questions out there. But there are just times, I think there are times where the law and morality are not always in sync. And there's just times where I don't see a problem with doing something that may not necessarily be legal to do what is morally justifiable. And so that's why we have lawyers. That's why, that's why we have all these various means in the system to sort of figure all that out and hash it all out.
That makes sense. So you brought up the thievery end of things. So the stealing of food to keep yourself alive. So in principle, I could agree with that. But in practice, what we see so much is that the people who get to that point have made such a series of bad choices to get to that point that that's the reason why they're having to go down that route. So then it puts into my mind the question of, should that play into the morality of breaking the law? Does it make a difference what you've done to get yourself to that point, or doesn't it matter once you get to that point? It just has to, you have to do what you have to do. I'm wondering if it does.
Like how much weight past action should have, or past criminal records.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because you have the people who will steal for the food, for example. Okay, whatever. But they're out on the street and they're homeless because of poor choices that they've made with, like, drug addiction, for example. They've blown through all of their money and lost their home and their job and their everything else because of the choices they made there. That changes it a little bit for me, at least. If somebody has made such horrible choices to get to a point where they have to choose to then break another law, I think my understanding goes out the window a little bit. I don't know. You? I
can see where you're coming from on that, Dan. There's certain times where people just, they're their own worst enemies, right? They do cocaine or they do whatever, and that they get, and they spend their rent money on drugs, and then they find themselves homeless, and then it just becomes this spiral. And within that, I still, even though I know they did it to themselves, and I know it's a self-sabotage thing, I still have some empathy for people that get caught up in addiction, because, I mean, it's just a hell of a thing. But, I kind of think of some people that maybe have hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical debt, or they something catastrophic has happened to them. And, sometimes, people still make bad choices, but I don't always think a bad choice is necessarily just like, well, you made a bad choice, you're on your own, go F yourself. There's still times where I think, I'm okay with somebody. I don't know if I want to say okay with it, but I can at least understand somebody doing something like, hey, I stole, some deli ham and some cheese and some bread or whatever to feed myself or to feed my kids. And again, I know that there's programs they can turn to. I know that there's places people can go. And sometimes people are so prideful, they'd rather do something illegal than admit that they need help. And again, I know that's a choice, but it's just a human condition sometimes. It takes a lot for some people to admit that they have a problem. And so that's, and these are things where the law and morality, and there's certainly kind of a blind spot that we have in society for some of that stuff. And so I don't know. It's a complex issue, and this is one of those topics that I know we can explore on some of our other shows too, like Sidebar. But this is definitely an interesting rabbit hole to go down.
No, it is, and I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree that past actions and the consideration of it should be situational. I don't think that it would apply to everybody, but I think it's one of the things that would need to be considered in whether or not we just turn the other way for somebody breaking a law, even if in the moment it is quote unquote the right thing to do. I think there has to be some consideration, or at least some exploration, as to what that person's past was to get them to that point. Because at some point it becomes excuse culture too. That's right. the dangerous part of this for me, is when somebody has it in their brain that they have to commit this crime because life demands it.
Or because everybody else is doing it. We've seen that too. Yeah.
Many times.
Too many times. But then it's a series of excuses and not accountability. And that is the dangerous part. This is going to sound really odd, but I can wrap my brain around the concept of a homicide being just easier than I can wrap my brain around the concept of a theft being just. And I know that probably sounds bizarre, but I can come up with better scenarios where I can go, okay, this went down and protection had to happen, so dude is dead. Easier than I can get to the point where I've found myself in these dire straits. There is just no other solution whatsoever, so I've got to go to Walmart and I've got to steal the Lunchable, and you know what? While I'm there, I need some boots and video game, and I
see. As soon as somebody does that,
the thing is it's never just food.
Yeah,
it isn't.
I
mean,
I've seen it one time.
Shoved down their pants. They've got they've got a couple of DVDs.
In all the court cases we've watched, I've seen it one time where somebody just stole food. But every other time, and the time that they just stole food, the judge went very, very easy and really pointed them in the right direction, really helped them out, and it all worked out in the end. But in a lot of these other cases, what happens is maybe this particular time they stole food, but of course they were stealing like fillets, and they were stealing like ribeyes, and it was like $500 worth of food. It wasn't just like, oh, I stole $3.99 worth of deli ham, and I took a loaf of bread, and I took some Dasani or something. And it was like, no, it was like a whole
crackers. Yeah.
Right. It was like they're going to make a 7-course meal. Oh, I had to get some ice cream because of course I took cake, and you can't have cake without ice cream. But of course it was the holidays, so I had to have some pumpkin pie. And of course, if you have pumpkin pie, you got to have cranberries, and you got to have turkey and mashed potatoes and stuffing. And at that point, they're just walking out with half the damn store.
Well, and you need,
so yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean,
well,
I just in my
Dan, I don't even know why you'd bring that up. Of course you do.
Well, yeah, but I just popped in my head something that Beth and I had seen on live PD several years ago, and I believed it happened in Toledo, Ohio. There was this lady, or maybe it was Indiana, doesn't matter. But there's this lady who was stealing from a Myers.
I knew you were going to bring that up because it was in my brain.
Oh, no.
And her whole thing was, I need to feed my kids. And they were small kids. But she starts pulling all of this food out of her clothing. And she's got steaks. And she's got...
it was like a clown car. I don't even know how she had that much stuff shoved in places and was able to move.
So... she was stealing like the high-end grocery stuff. Now, I will give her credit for one thing. Michael, can you guess what that one thing I will give her credit for is?
She didn't steal alcohol?
No, but that's a good one. No, she stole stuff she was actually going to cook. She was going to make a meal.
Not pre-prepared.
So, kudos for that, because like nobody cooks anymore. But I couldn't believe my eyes at what, and her children are like 2. They're like a couple years old. And she's stealing like high-end steaks because I got to feed my kids. No.
It was like $500 or $600 worth of stuff.
Yeah. You need to steal
them
like
the whole cart.
You steal
and I
like
don't know
eggs
how
and
she can move.
applesauce, stuff like that.
Yeah, like kids don't care about good food. I mean, the biggest waste of time is when some parent takes their 10-year-old to a nice steakhouse. Like, they don't care. They just put ketchup all over. Your filet mignon, sir. I'm going to put ketchup on it. Okay, neat. I mean, of course, it's a waste of time because kids have no sense of taste. They have no appreciation. And so, yeah, don't steal steaks for your kid. That's how I know that that's just somebody that, see, that's where the law, that's where you should just be put in jail for being stupid. Not even so much just a thief, just being dumb. Come on, man.
Yeah, I could get behind that. But it's just, this is the struggles that I have, though, is we can, I look, I think it's right that things aren't as simple as a rule book. But I think that acknowledgement that things aren't as simple as a rule book also opens us up to even more abuse and people making excuses for their bad behavior. Like, well, I'm down on my luck and so I had, what? I'm sorry, I had to steal that Mercedes. Down on my luck. And people make excuses for that sort of thing.
They rationalize it in their head.
Yeah.
I was going to ask because Michael brought up pride. I was going to ask you guys about some white collar crime and how one mistake can easily snowball into another because they're trying to cover up the first mistake. And
oh, geez, I wonder where you came up with that concept from.
Well, it happens a lot.
Yeah, no, it does happen a lot. But we've also talked over on TCF about how we actually have an acquaintance who went down a bad path like that, white collar stuff, and to the tune of over $100 million. I don't think there's any excuse for that. I don't think there's an excuse for it because once it happens, I think you need to recognize it and go, whoa, I just crossed the line. I went too far.
Yeah.
And you stop it dead and you fix it there. I can understand making the initial mistake. I really can, because we are all human. We are fallible. We're going to make mistakes. So even on the white collar end of things, if somebody did a whoopsie, I shouldn't have done that, but then immediately stops and corrects it, however that correction has to happen, I can get behind that. But to continue it just to cover up the initial thing, and then you got to cover up the cover up and all of that, and you get the crime snowball.
Well, it's like gambling.
Turns into Watergate.
Yeah.
I
People gamble away their life savings and then try to get a loan to cover up the gambling or the loss, and because they don't want to tell their wife or their significant other that they just lost all their money. And
Right.
Well, when we get to that point, it's no longer a law thing. It's a behavior thing. It's a personality thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a them problem. It's not a law problem. On the initial break with something like that, the initial crime, if you catch yourself and you correct it, like I said, I can get behind that. That makes sense to me. You've stepped over the line and you went, whoa, that's not me. And you fix it. As Stevens always says, it's fixable. You can fix this. That makes sense to me. But the rest of it, I think excuses, they no longer fly.
what do you
Right.
think, Michael?
It's when you get into the Elizabeth Holmes situation, you know, if you're talking white collar, you know, and that's one of those things where it's not even a mistake. Even if I gave her the benefit of the doubt and I said, well, maybe she actually thought she could come up with something that would do what she wanted to do, but everybody told her there's no way. You know, and it was, she still decides to do it anyway. I mean, at that point, you're already kind of over the line. And then you get all those people to invest all that money in it. And then you're bilking all these people out of tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. And then, you know, everybody's come to you and said, look, this doesn't work. This is not a thing. This is not scientifically possible. It violates all, you know, the very laws of science to even take one drop of blood and be able to, you know, do everything, cure cancer and all that other stuff. She went way over the line. So that's the problem. It snowballs like that. So
There you go. I think those are our thoughts on the matter, Bethy.
Okay. We could have kept going a long time on that one.
We definitely could, and maybe you can bring us a part two at some point. But this is,
yes,
yeah, I don't know. For me, like I said,
definitely.
I can wrap my brain around a major crime like killing somebody easier than I can wrap my brain around a smaller crime like stealing something and calling it okay. I guess that makes me weird.
Yeah, I agree though.
Yeah. You agree that I'm weird? Thank you, Michael.
I do. I mean, well, that's why we're here. We're all weird.
Absolutely. All right. Round 2.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Sure.
You're all queued up over there?
Yeah, well, I don't start the timer on this one
Okay.
until after you give us the question.
Okay. Well, this one, because the first one was a little heavy, I went a little bit softer. And this one actually plays probably more into Michael's background than yours, Dan, but I know you'll have opinions because you have opinions on everything. So there's a long-running debate in music and wellness circles about whether modern tuning, standardized at 440 hertz, is natural, or whether an alternative 432 hertz tuning produces a more harmonious or calming effect. So tonight we're going to explore where music theory, science, and belief intersects. We're not trying to debunk or endorse anything. We're just talking about music theory, science, and cultural beliefs.
So 440 versus 442?
440 versus 432.
432. Okay.
I can give you more background if you need it, Dan.
No, I've actually read stuff on this. That having been said, you're absolutely right. This is much more of a Michael topic than a me topic, because I'm still a learning. For those of you who don't know, on my 50th birthday a few years back, I said I want to learn an instrument, and we got a guitar, and I've been working on it, but I still really suck at it. But that's okay. But I have heard the 440 versus 432 debate, but I'm going to default to the master. So kick us off, Michael.
Oh, well, the master not being here, I suppose I'll just chime in because to me, I don't know what a natural tone is even. I mean, I've heard this debate forever. To me, this is like, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer on this one. This isn't, to me, if it just, I hate to break it down so simplistically, but to me, if it sounds good, then it's good. I mean, I don't know if there is a natural tone. That said, I know that whenever they have, any auto tune and any instrument by default, any digital instrument is set to 440 hertz, which I know we're getting in the weeds of like technical geekdom, but somebody just decided that was the standard, and so that became the standard, I think.
It became the standard because a long time ago, different orchestras and different groups would tune differently.
Right.
And so when there was any collaborations or any group events, it became an obstacle. So yeah, there was a standardization that actually took effect, and a government type entity came in and said, this is what we're doing and everybody has to follow it.
But a lot of bands, they'll play their songs, they'll slightly detune, and they'll there's always people that like to kind of stray from that, and so it's I don't know. I see it as one of those things where I get why there's some standard in place, but I'm kind of glad that music is such a creative expression. It's such an artistic thing that I'm glad that we have so many people that are willing to stray from this standard, because last week on this show, we talked about the homogenization of everything. And one thing we talked about was music. And, the music biz has had that problem. But one thing that definitely keeps it alive is for everybody to be able to change things up and to be able to do things differently. And, if you want to, you want to detune, by 1/12 of a semitone, you can do that. I mean, I think that's what keeps the juices flowing, and it makes everything sound a little different. Like there's like when I listen to some Foreigner songs, or I listen to some, there's songs that are just slightly detuned, and it sounds a little different than everything else. Layla is like the piano is slightly lower than that. It's off by about not even half a step. It's about, like -10 or something. Anyway, it's just barely, but it's what adds a slightly dynamic feel to things. I don't know. It's an ineffable quality. It's hard for me to, it's almost like describe the color red. You really can't. That's kind of my thoughts on all of it.
Okay. While you guys were talking, I looked up, because I don't think we have rules against Googling.
No.
So I Googled real quick because I was trying to remember where I had seen this before. And there's actually conspiracy theories around 440
Yes.
hertz.
That's why I have all sorts of.
Yeah, so that is where I have seen this. So there is a belief out there that, 432 is natural, 440 is not. So there's a belief that it's weaponized, the idea of causing negative emotions, chaos in your brain, aggression, anxiety.
Yep.
And some people believe that it dates back to our German friends from the 40s and 30s. And them using it to start with to kind of gin up some chaotic energy. So that's interesting, and I'm not saying that it's true or false or anything like that, because I'm not qualified to say it. But and it's probably just people connecting random dots, but it is interesting that, all the music is 440 now. Well, at least not all of it, but a lot of it. But then you look at the problems that we have as a society with behavioral issues and anxiety and depression and aggression, all the things. I don't know. I mean, we know that sound and frequency and all that does play a role. It can be damaging and makes you wonder, is modern music killing us? I don't know.
But the thing about that is that that 440, I mean, that's if you're listening to it on a perfectly preserved recording. Back in my day, we used to have this thing called the radio. It was this industry. There was this device that you had in your home or in your car. And I'm not even talking like a satellite or an MP3 player or CDs or just your iPhone or your tablet or whatever. But, actual signals being sent out through the air, and you tuned it in on your radio and you listened to it. Anyway, radio stations would notoriously pitch their songs. They would change the pitch +1, +2. They'd take it up, one semitone to whatever. And the reason they did that was because radio program directors are stupid. That's probably part of it. And they all want to put their own stamp on things, but also because they could fit more songs in an hour by doing that. So that changed the way a song sounded. So ultimately, I don't think it really, the debate is kind of, at least for our generation, was a little bit muted because of that, because of how, radio and how we consumed music back then. And nowadays, who knows? Everybody's changing stuff up so much that I don't know if there's a consistent sound as much as there used to be. But I don't know. I've heard a lot of the conspiracy theories too, but I like a lot of them. I don't know how much I would put stock into that.
Well, and I don't either. I was trying to remember where I had heard the 432 versus 440 before, and I was pretty sure it was not in my music lessons, and it wasn't. It was in the conspiracy theory angle.
There are people that claim 432 resonates with the body. It promotes calm. It has restorative effects. There are also some people, it's Schumann's resonance theory. They claim that 432 is harmonically aligned with our planet, and thus it is better for us as a species because...
Maybe I should change my voice right now to 432. Hold on,
there's a resonance to everything.
Yeah.
A lot of it we can't hear naturally, but there is a resonance to everything. But that's where some of the speculation comes in, with things like binaural beats or singing bowls or things that don't inherently follow the 440 rule. And some people find them much more calming. So, I don't know. Do you guys think there's anything to that, or do you just think it's all hype, or?
No, I think there's probably something to that.
There may be.
Frequencies and waves and stuff, they all affect us. One of the things that's been speculated and studied, though nothing conclusive, is that they have lower risks and lower rates of cancer in your torso area in Japan. But they don't use the quote-unquote traditional mattresses there with all the springs and all of that. But here in the U.S. we do, and it just turns out that in a lot of cases, those mattresses are just big antennas for radio waves.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, is this something that, and we're as a species, it's more common for us to sleep on our right side. And if you get a cancer in your torso area, it is more common for it to be on your right side.
Correct.
There's just a lot of weird connections to things like that. So I don't know. Could there be something to it?
That is interesting.
Michael, are you in 432 now?
I am in 432 now.
I can hear a slight difference.
There's a slight. Well, I had to do a little auto tune for it. So
Okay.
so yeah. Now I'm. It's very weird sounding. So I don't know if it's in perfect harmony with the earth.
Well, the earth is weird, so it just might be.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting
it
good
does,
feedback in the chat. Ashley says she likes it, so maybe it should stay that way.
Maybe it should stay this way. It sounds weird to me, but if you guys think it sounds fine, then
there's a slight radio quality to it now.
Oh, well, that's very interesting.
So.
Yeah, I didn't. I had to go in and make a whole make an adjustment. I had to turn on I actually had to put in this in Pro Tools, but I was able to set it up. So there you go. I don't know. It sounds strange to me, but maybe it's because you're used to the 440 sound.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
So Michael kind of hinted at this. With the standardization, it has the potential to limit creativity, in my opinion. But when we start getting so many standardizations of things like this that some people might not even be aware of, why do you think it it attracts so many conspiracy theories and whatnot?
Because that's what we're wired for.
Yeah. Anytime there's something we don't understand, we just have to turn it into a conspiracy.
Well, one of the things we talked about on the last episode, as I recall, is trust.
Yeah.
And how I think, Michael, you and I pretty much agreed that the concept of being able to have any trust in the authorities above us is pretty much gone now.
Yes.
I don't think it really matters what side it's coming from, what agency it's coming from, any of it. So, I mean, if all of a sudden the Department of Musical Affairs says we're all going to do 440 now, it's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
You know, I could see where that would bring up conspiracy theories, especially when if 432 is supposed to be more quote unquote natural, then why did they settle on 440? You know, why not settle on the thing that's supposedly more balanced with the earth and better for our ears and all this kind of stuff? It's, you know, that would be the questions I would ask.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't surprise me a bit, but we're conditioned for that because the powers that be around us have conditioned us for that. And, you know, does it surprise me that it's bled into music and music theory and all that? Not a bit, because it's bled into everything else.
Right.
You know, everything.
Yeah, that's what we like to do. We like to, we like to, because there's a lot of people that just don't like. I think part of the reason conspiracy theories exist too is because people just don't want to accept a simple explanation for things. They want to make everything out to be something bigger than what it is. And very, very rarely is that true. I talked about Occam's razor last time. Simplest explanation is usually the correct one. And for a lot of people, they want to be the person that cracks a code that doesn't exist. And so they'll come up with all these ideas that, that just, and then it makes you sound nuts. But they'll link things, that aren't there. But, other people will buy into it too, because everybody wants to be special. We were talking about this kind of before the show. Everybody has to have some different perspective on everything. And, it's not enough just to have your own kind of viewpoint that sort of aligns with other people. It's like, I have to be different. So that's why we have all the conspiracies, and that's why, but also I think that's why some people are like, well, I'm not recording in 440. I'm not recording in standard tuning. I'm not going to play my guitar right. I'm going to play in drop D. I'm going to play in, I'm going to detune by -7 or whatever. I'm going to do it my way. And I don't know. People are weird. That's the bottom line, I think, to this entire this entire situation.
People are weird. Beth, you might have mentioned this. I don't know, but did you say when 440 became the standard? Do we know that?
I don't have the date in my notes, but I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, could you?
Stand by.
I'm just curious how it aligns with the rise of conspiracy theories, the rise of big government, the rise of, big music, all the bigs. It's curiosity of mine because it might help frame this a little bit.
The year was 1956.
It was
Dwight
first...
D. Eisenhower signed the official Music 440 Act of 1956, which therefore made all music required to be recorded at 440 hertz. Anyone found not to be doing so would be tried for treason and hanged in the town square.
Thank you, Michael.
It was
It's
first
also clear now.
proposed in
Please don't
1834, but it wasn't until the 20th century when it was accepted as the international standard. And
Okay.
what year for that, I'm trying to find out.
So back in the 1800s,
Yeah,
they understood music that well back then?
apparently.
Interesting.
They
I mean,
they understood music frequencies. Like they knew what I would find that hard to. I mean, I know they knew notes and tuning and all of this. Sure, but
Yeah, that's where I'm.
The American
lost.
Standards Association recommended that A above middle C be tuned to 440 hertz in 1936.
1936.
So we had nothing better going on during the Great Depression than to figure out how to.
It was an informal
It's just like-
standard in 1930 or in 1926. So then it.
Oh,
it took 10 years
1926.
for it took 10 years for it to become an actual manufacturing standard
Yeah.
for people.
So I was
to,
wrong.
like,
Wasn't
adopt
Dwight
it.
D. Eisenhower?
Calvin Coolidge told America, time to tune to 440. Do your patriotic duty. Why did everyone talk like this back in the 20s and 30s? I don't know, but that's how we talked. That was another standard that we had to have for broadcasting back then. Yes, from the first radio station all the way up till 1975, people had to talk like this. And if you didn't, well, you'd be tried for treason and hanged in the town square.
Or exhumed and
Yeah.
Or exhumed
exhumed
and
After your
hanged post-mortem. Wouldn't it be
So
a
do
lot
you
more
get-
interesting if the Mike and Dan show were done like this? Mike is talking like this, and Dan is in the 21st century, and I'm back here in the early part of the 20th century. Yes, of course, that's how it be.
Oh,
Take a donut sandwich, please.
There's so many good shorts that are going to be cut out of
Yes.
this one.
So do you guys think there's anything to the fact that different resonances could be healing?
Yes.
It's all hogwash, I tell you. It's all firecrackers.
Oh, sorry. I
I
get stuck
disagree.
in that mode, and it's like
We
another
disagree here
character
in
on
the
this show.
21st century, Michael. No, it can be healing because it can also be destructive. I mean,
Sure.
we talked about it the other day. Sound waves used to break up kidney stones, for example.
Yep.
So
Certain colors are used for different eye conditions, for example. We use different light waves and sound waves for various things. It can all be done therapeutic, and it can also be done to harm. I don't know if
Red
really
light
the difference
therapy.
between 440 and 432 is really this Armageddon. It's the ruination of society that some say it is, but I can see how there's obviously there's clearly a difference, but probably for the average person, you're not going to know.
Well,
I
I will
don't
tell
think
you
so.
that in the chat they noticed the difference when you flipped. They said you sounded calmer. They said they liked the sound. So yeah, it was noticeable. I mean, I don't know what all
So
you
maybe
did,
there
but
is something to that whole.
Maybe I should do
end of it.
432 ASMR.
Yeah.
ooh, that would be the perfect combination. That might be something. All right. Well, that was interesting, Beth. I don't know exactly what I learned, but I feel like I learned something. but I don't know what.
If you learned anything today on the Mike and Dan show, you learned something.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Unlike in the sidebar where you guys usually end by saying, "I don't know what we actually
We
figured out
solve
or
nothing on
accomplished."
sidebar.
Yeah.
The point of the show is to solve nothing, except that one time where we solved something, but then we just decided we don't want to ever do that again.
No.
So the point
I
here is
privated
just
that
to learn
episode.
something. Doesn't matter what, just something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even have to know what you learned
Exactly.
because I'm not sure what I learned, but it was a good discussion.
It's all
It was fun.
bollocks, I tell you. It's all firecrackers, bollocks, nonsense. Poppycock.
All right.
All right.
True false round.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, friends, here's how this goes. Bethy's going to give us 5. Count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, notice, Michael, that I knew how to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It wasn't like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 or anything like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Anybody who's followed Mike's channel knows what I'm referencing right there.
Yes. Some people do. There's a lot of functional illiteracy going on out there.
There is.
Sesame Street failed some people.
Brought to you by the number 7030. What?
It's the number B. It's the number B.
It's
Number B,
11 to 8.
Yes. All right. So, anyways, true false round.
Yes.
5 questions. We get 3 minutes for Beth to tell us what it is, and
Okay.
for us to debate it and decide whether or not it's true or false. It's wacky. It's wild.
And you guys
weird.
are usually done way before 3 minutes.
Not always,
And then
but
we just
sometimes.
banter.
But let's find out. Ready?
Yeah.
Question
Yes.
1.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're wasting our time now.
Okay. Shh. At one point in history, there were 3 rival popes claiming authority at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's true, although it might not have been 3. It might have been like 3 diddy. 3 diddy's a number, right, Michael?
Texas with a $sign.
Exactly. No, I seem to recall that there was at least one point in history where there was some debate and discussion over who was running the show. I don't remember the names, but I seem to recall it being a thing. I just don't remember it was 3, but it's plausible enough to believe that it was 3. And it's also plausible enough based on the discussion we had the other day that the other 2 were killed, buried, rose again,
Brought back from the dead and excommunicated for daring to speak against the church.
Excommunicated, killed, burned, and shot into space with rockets that they found from like the ancient Egyptians or the Anunnaki or somebody.
Yes.
I don't
Perhaps.
know. Michael?
I don't claim to be the most religiously savvy individual here. That said, I would say that sounds very true. There's doesn't really sound that made up. I could certainly see that happening. If you said maybe it was 2 popes and a drunken moose, I would say it's absolutely 100% true.
2 popes and a moose walk into a bar. Which we know now is plausible because we know that moose
and the
drink.
moose tried to be responsible and take a nap and ended up dead, and the other 2 were just fine.
And
that's the
Vatican
joke.
Covered it up.
Yes.
That's the joke. It's a joke.
It's also
No, but
clear
really,
now.
no, I do. I think it's true. I could see a divided church. I mean, we kind of have seen not necessarily 3 popes, but we have seen some dissension within the church, especially in the Catholic Church over the last 30 years regarding some modern social issues. So I could see it. I think it's true.
Yeah, I mean, there's always factions that break off and have different beliefs and whatnot. That's true now. So, all right, I think we're locked in on true, and I don't think we need more time.
Okay. The answer is true. During the Western Schism, 1378 through 1417, competing factions of the Catholic Church recognized different papal claimants. Attempts to resolve the divide led to a third pope being appointed during the Council of Constance. And then finally, the church unified under Pope Martin V.
Martin?
Martin.
A pope,
No, there was a Martin.
another pope,
Martin.
a third pope, and the Batman symbol.
Yeah.
Good reference.
The two rival popes there was one in Rome and one in Avignon. And a council tried to fix it and then
By making another one.
and accidentally created a third one because the other two wouldn't step down.
That's
Accidentally.
That's government efficiency right there.
So for
Sir,
for a time,
I've got some bad news. I've accidentally created a pope.
So
A
for
what?
time,
Did you
yeah,
flush
it
it? No, a pope, sir. A pope.
So yeah, for a time there were actually three men simultaneously running around claiming to be the true one and only pope.
Wow. Well,
Okay.
that always works out well.
Yes.
All right. None of that surprises me.
It didn't surprise. It really did not shock me at all.
Why is this being weird tonight? No, I don't want it full screen.
Whoa. That's.
There we go. Okay.
I got jump scared by the clock.
Well, my timer, I think, we had the problem this morning on the pre-show with things going weird. I think there's a bad Chrome update because all of a sudden my timer lost like its control mechanisms, but now it's back. So I don't know.
Weird.
I don't get it. Maybe I'm not meant to get it.
Was there a seance involved?
Oh, undoubtedly. There's always a seance.
That was from a previous show.
All right.
Yeah.
Question 2.
Yes.
Go.
Napoleon Bonaparte, I think you both know who he is, one of history's greatest military commanders, was forced to retreat from a battlefield because he was overrun by an attacking army of rabbits.
Well, the rabbits would have been taller than him. So it's
I was just
plausible.
going to say. Yeah.
Though he would have been taller than our quarterback here in Arizona. There's that.
Napoleon Murray. Yes. That's another pre-show discussion we had there.
Dude's like 2'4".
Yeah.
Uh,
Wonder why he's never won anything.
yeah, go
It's
figure.
amazing.
You guys are oddly quiet on this one. Okay.
I'm trying to factor in our vast experience that we have with rabbits, and I could see rabbits overrunning an army if you have the right rabbits, not the timid wild ones, like the domesticated beasts that we have that will destroy you. You remember, like Floppy, you still have a scar on your arm from her.
Oh, I do. Yeah. It looks like
Yeah.
a shark bite.
Yeah, well, that's because she did. She latched on and wouldn't let go.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
So didn't we have a rule that if it was from the past and it was ridiculous, it was true?
That's true, but this is not from the 16th century.
Oh, is that the rule?
Yeah, or like 17, well, the 17th century earlier. So, this is like
Napoleon was
19th century.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's still kind of it's like adjacent to the rule. So I'm gonna have to lean with true just because it's rule adjacent. It's not directly into it, but look, Napoleon. Yeah, you know what? I could see that. I mean, and he's French, so he probably saw a rabbit and decided to retreat. I mean, but that was back when the French actually weren't a bunch of cowards. But no, I would say it's true.
Well, you might have to retreat just for safety because rabbit poo are like these little round pellets, and if you get enough of those on the ground, it's like, you're slipping on steelies or something.
It's just like
So-
some dropped a bunch of
slippery. They're dry.
marbles
I mean-
or caltrops.
It's
That'll show
it's
you.
It's not a safe situation.
Retreat. Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say true on this. It sounds ridiculous enough that
Totally ridiculous.
that it just needs to be true.
So ridiculous, it has to be true.
Make it true even if it's false.
It actually is true. During an 1807 celebratory hunting event, domesticated rabbits, good job, Dan,
There we go.
accustomed to being fed, swarmed Napoleon and his party. Instead of fleeing, they climbed his legs and coat until he was forced to retreat into his carriage. Apparently,
Rabbit
they came in
season!
swarms. They came in literal swarms because they were domesticated, and domesticated rabbits see humans and think, "Oh God, thank you, the food has arrived." So it was a bunny swarm. Our one of history's greatest military strategists was defeated by snack expectations and fuzzy creatures that have four incisors that constantly grow.
Now that's a bad bunny.
That is a bad bunny. Imperial bunny swarm.
See, I told
Wow.
you it had to be domesticated. I did call that one
You
right.
did.
I could
That
not.
was-
You
I could
did.
not see that happening with a wild rabbit because
Nope.
they're in prey mode, so they're gonna run.
Yeah.
But domesticated rabbits don't know no better. None know how.
Yep.
No. Interesting. All right. Question 3.
Yeah.
Go.
Although babies grow in size, the number of bones in the human body remains the same from birth to adulthood.
False.
False.
Kneecaps.
I know I've
Infants
read.
Don't have kneecaps.
Yeah, I think you start out with, I can't remember the numbers, but I'm obviously you have 206 bones, but yeah, no, not as an infant. That's one of those tricky questions, but yeah, I think that is false. In fact,
So-
I'm very certain it is.
Who do you think has more, babies or adults?
Adults.
You
Well-
think adults have more bones than babies? That's what you're saying.
Well, I don't know.
That wasn't the direct question, but I'm just curious.
Well, for
'cause-
that to be the case, we'd have to have bones that start out separate and then fuse into
Which-
like larger bones.
Which kind of sounds like that's what would happen.
That's.
I just
what
know it's
think
not the
would
same, but I
have to
don't-
happen.
'Cause I remember this in like bar trivia or something at some point, but I just don't remember the specifics on that.
So here's, I to a certain extent, it would depend on how you count, though, because with the skull, you've got the soft spot because you've got pieces of it that haven't formed into one solid skull yet.
Yeah.
So that's a factor too. So it might very well be true that by a couple, infants have more bones if you're counting those skull pieces separately, but then you subtract out the two kneecaps.
So the actual question is, although babies grow in size, the number of bones in the human body remains the same from birth to adulthood.
Yeah, I still think that's false.
Okay.
I do
You,
too.
Michael? Do we need more
False.
time?
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right, go.
Babies are born with around 270 bones, which fuse together during development, and most adults have 206 bones. Many of the extra bones are in the skull, spine, and growth plates, which fuse as we develop.
Okay, so I was right on the skull thing.
But it's
Yeah.
quite a bit. That was the part that surprised me. I mean, that's a difference of 64 bones. That's a lot.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of fusing going on in the spine.
Yeah, I knew about the growth plates and stuff, but yeah, the the spine, that's interesting too. Yeah. It's an educational show. Damn it.
Yes.
I told you, you
wrong
might
with you?
learn something. And you just might learn something along the way.
Hate when that happens.
Ready?
We on 3 or 4 now?
We're on
Hey,
four.
hey, hey. Oh,
Go.
The mantis shrimp's claw strikes with the acceleration of a .22 caliber bullet, powerful enough to crack aquarium glass.
Yes. I believe that to be true. Some of these little suckers are just vicious.
The same power as a bullet, though?
Yeah. I would buy into that.
Okay. What do you think, Michael?
I mean, the ocean is a messed up place.
It is.
I mean, look, Steve Irwin got killed by one of those barbs. Just got him right in the heart, and it takes some force to do that. So I mean, yeah, nature is mean. I mean, you go to Australia, that everything there tries to kill you. They have birds bigger than people. They have spiders the size of a dinner plate. They have everything there that, I mean, if
Kangaroos are crazy.
The eastern brown snake is like 15 feet long. So the bottom line is I totally believe that the strength of or the speed, faster than a speeding bullet. I mean, it really is, or at least as powerful as one, because yeah, I would totally believe that. That seems 100% true.
Yeah, no, the
my light went out.
People are always like,
again.
nature's so beautiful and so calm, and so no, nature's trying to kill you at all times. Even the trees are trying to kill each other because they're all competing for resources, and it's no different. But the ocean especially is a nasty, nasty place. It tries to kill you in a million different ways, and I believe. Yeah, it could be that you've given us the wrong creature, but I do seem to recall something that was strong enough to break through aquarium glass. So that doesn't surprise me at all. I think that's true. We good, Michael?
Yes.
Okay. You guys are getting good at this. I need to amp it up. It is true. Mantis shrimp can accelerate their claws at speeds comparable to a .22 caliber bullet, generating cavitation shock waves strong enough to crack glass and stun prey instantly. Here's the interesting part. There's two main types of mantis shrimp. There's smashers and spears. We were specifically talking about the smashers. And when they ambush their predators, by the way, these little guys are small. They're 10 inches absolutely tops. They have this like claw thing that comes out, and the strike speed is about 50 miles per hour, which is just insane. But it creates these cavitation bubbles, and then the bubbles collapse and form a secondary shock wave that also hits the prey that could kill them. And if that isn't enough, because it's so fast, it actually creates light and heat.
So it cooks their prey too. So they've made dinner.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. They're little microwaves.
Yeah.
Nature's a bitch, man.
It is. Those things are
Yeah.
scary.
Damn, nature. You
are
scary.
But are they good eating?
I don't know. They look like a cross between a centipede and a lobster, but make it colorful.
Ooh, that sounds like a pretty yummy sea bug.
Yeah, it's definitely a sea bug.
All right, interesting. Number 5, are we on now?
Number 5.
Go.
The U.S. Air Force used 8-inch floppy disks for nuclear missile launch systems until they were phased out in the 1980s.
I say false because I'm willing to bet they're still using them because it's the government.
Well, I know part of that is true. I don't know if they've been totally phased out. So, yeah, I would say the premise of the question is true, except for the part where you say phased out in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because we are still using, I think and I'm serious about this. I think that Social Security, like the system was built on Fortran or so, and it's still used that way. I mean, we still are running the same system that was built in like 19 78 or something.
Yep.
So
No, half the government runs on COBOL and Fortran.
yeah. So this is one of those where the premise is true. Just the 1980s part, I think, is false.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I need to debate that one anymore.
So yeah, I would say overall false.
Yeah, I think we're false.
You guys are getting way too good. It is false. As of the 2016 GAO report, the U.S. Nuclear Command Center was still using 8-inch floppy disks in operational workflow. It's because there's no internet connection, so there's no chance of remote intrusion from hackers, because the format is so old, it actually makes it harder to infiltrate it, even if you could get within proximity of it. And in order to get physical proximity, you'd have to have clearance and facility access, yada yada.
Would you like to play a game?
Yeah.
Well, we also have 11 billion silos.
Yeah.
So all of that upgrading would cost a penny or two. We might have to up our taxes again.
Yep. So yeah, you guys are way too good at this. I thought I had some really hard ones in
Did
there.
we get any of them wrong tonight?
No.
Not tonight, no.
No.
Yay. Up your game, woman.
I was up all night doing this, man.
Well, that last one, I was like, I don't think I mean, we're still on Fortran for Social Security, so I'm pretty sure this is, we're still running that stuff. I mean, every movie.
I was in college and I had CDRWs. So the fact that they're still using a floppy disk, I mean, somebody from accounting could sit on the thing or spill coffee on it, and then what happens?
3 Mile Island.
Fair. I guarantee you they're still running systems that are programmed with punch cards.
Yeah. No, I mean, seriously, 3 Mile Island was caused, I thought, by somebody spilling a Pepsi on the console. Things like that happen. So the floppy disks. Ah, man.
And see, now it goes back to that whole conspiracy theory thing. Maybe this feeds into why some people just don't trust the government.
Because they're still using 8-inch floppies?
They're playing Oregon Trail in a missile silo.
Yeah. I mean, everybody is like, yay, AI, and we're putting all this money and technology into infrastructure. And then at the same time, things like our nukes that could decimate the entire world are still run on very ancient technology. It's a very weird world out there.
But you could also argue that it doesn't matter because, as Michael pointed out in the last show, there was that whole alien admission that happened like during COVID. Like, oh yeah, we've seen them, right?
Yeah.
You did say that, right, Michael?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
Well, one of the beliefs out there is that the reason that we haven't had nuclear war is that they're the ones who shut stuff down.
Oh.
And we have seen instances where silos and stuff have like gone dark, where stuff stops working. Now, it could just be that somebody spilled their Pepsi on the 8-inch floppy. That could also be the case.
Yeah.
But
well,
anyways.
Yeah. Or because they have a bunch of people like millennials or, Gen Zs or whatever. What? How the hell do I work this, man? Like, dude, I don't get it. Like, what is this?
That'd be a weird job.
They have no idea.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
They think it's an LP and put it on there and start scratching it.
Check out my remix, bro.
Right next to the dot matrix printer.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was fun.
Image
we should
writer.
do it again. But maybe you need to stay up 2 nights and come up with some more
Apparently
challenging
I
questions.
do, man. I tried really hard. Sorry to disappoint anyone out there that I didn't trip them up this time.
Maybe.
That's smart, baby.
Yeah, maybe we're just knowledgeable about, just stuff that really doesn't matter, but we know it just because
Like
storehouses
musical
of useless
lollipops and
information.
drunk mooses.
Yeah.
Michael, I don't think she respects our intellects.
No, lots of
well,
respect.
I mean-
because you think you think you could give us the softball stuff and it'll be okay.
How is this softball stuff? We're talking about sea bugs that have the strength of 22 caliber guns. This isn't softball.
We know a lot of things, Michael.
I just figured it was true because, nature is mean. I mean, we have the cassowary, like they got a head like a sledgehammer. So I just assume that, there's stuff on this planet that is even worse than that. So,
oh, no doubt.
And I mean, we talked about in the last show how the up and coming generations are not even high school functionally literate. So,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
dichotomy for sure.
We're in trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we should probably call it a day because we're like 10 minutes over, but that's okay. This was fun. Did you have
It
fun,
was
Michael,
fun, as
on the
always.
night?
It was.
All right.
It was.
Well, let's do it again on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
I always
Hooray.
wind up with sore cheeks from laughing so hard.
That's fair. It's good. It's a good problem to have. ITBshow.com. There is a link down in the description, I do believe. If not, figure it out. ITBshow.com. Go there, sign up for the emails because after each show, Beth mails out her show notes.
Yep.
So it's a great way for you to learn more about everything that we talked about. So please do that. You can find me over at TCF, The Courtroom Files, youtube.com/@The Courtroom Files. You can find Michael, our official weatherman, at Michael Groff 6599.
Or something like that.
Something like that. That's also I linked though on the channel, so you can find it there.
And like,
Beth will also
share,
send out a transcript
subscribe.
to this program on telegrams.
Yes, yeah, we can do that too. But no, Beth raises a good point. This is a brand new venture for Mike and I, so please do share it with everybody you've ever met on the planet.
And if you want an escape from all of the other dumbing down out there, I can't think of another show like this that exists. So seriously, if you're enjoying it and
We dumb you down in our own way.
yeah,
Exactly.
if you want an escape from all
Yes.
of the junk out there in the world, this is a good one. So share it with your friends, and we'd really like to keep
And your
Yeah,
enemies.
yes.
Yeah.
Especially the enemies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your enemies might enjoy it too.
All right.
And people that have put you in the friend zone. That'll learn them.
All right. On that note, let's call it a night, and I'll see all of you tomorrow on TCF. Do check out Michael's weather videos. He'll have a new one up for you tomorrow, and one's already been posted for today.
And I'll see
Indeed.
you on Wednesday.
And we'll be here on Wednesday. Good night, everybody.